Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Samuel Bush-Banasi, Chair of Northern Land Council. I would like to welcome you all here today, this afternoon, and I acknowledge Minister Ken Wyatt, Indigenous Affairs, Minister Selena Uvo, I think Senator Sam McMahon here, Senator Malarndirri McCarthy, and acknowledge the Mayor of West Arnhem Regional Council, Matty Ryan, Director of Park, and the West Arnhem Executive Member of the Northern Land Council. Most of all, welcome traditional owners and families and grandkids are here today. I know you might have been waiting for a very long time, and 45 years is a very long time. And been waiting for it now for a while, and this is a great day for all traditional owners. I would like to introduce Mandy Muir, who's going to be the MC today. Mandy will lead today's ceremony. Mandy's a local businesswoman, and she's the operator of Kakadu Billabong Safari Camp here on that side, I think, isn't it? Mandy's also the daughter of the senior Murumburr traditional owner, Jesse Alderson. I would like to say one thing. Today we flew to Malarndirri to hand over another 2 land deed to Yurlkmanj. Yurlkmanj was a very different sort of land claim because it said people was buying land from England and everything and trying to turn Yurlkmanj into a little town, but it never happened. So back in 1977, the land claim happened with Northern Land Council was part of it, and finally 2022 it was handed back to them. And we thank the Northern Territory Government and the federal government of recognising those traditional owners, and it was a special day for the Mirrar people of Yurlkmanj. Then straight after that we done Elsie first. Elsie is where the Mangara and the Yurlkmanj people they call themselves. And Elsie was a station back in, you might probably all know the movie very well. I think We Have the Never Never. And We Have the Never Never. Then in 1977 too, that's happened at the same time that the land claim was happening with the old people. Auntie Sheila, Auntie Jessie passed away, and they were part of the land claim. With those 2 knowledge, the land claim would never got up. And I'm feeling sorry that Auntie was passed away a day before. We went down to hand over Elsie, and now Elsie became a land trust like Yurlkmanj. And the same thing is going to happen here today with the 13 clan groups here today going to will become a land trust. I had a yarn with Joe, what's your name? Joe, about how the parks would have a better relationship with traditional owners. And that's the most important thing, to have a good relationship with traditional owners. And then because we had a lot of, like Gunlom, that's in court at the moment. And that's one of the best things ever happened if the park director will have a relationship with traditional owner, and then you'll have a better outcome. You may disagree, you may agree, but then you'll be satisfied with the best outcome you're going to get out of it. So instead of me boring you up, it's hot, and I'm hot and sweating. It's a big day. I would like to welcome Mandy Muir.
Okay, welcome. And I just want to say how excited and very proud and, you know, what a wonderful and joyous occasion. You know, we all those who've seen, you know, the struggles and, you know, the start of land rights here in the area. I was only a child when it was all happening, but yeah, I just want to say a special thank you for all family, you know, who've come from a long way, and all those other guests who, you know, share this occasion. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge the Murumburr people and all those other clans that, you know, being presented today. And I would like to, we've just heard some sad news, and we'd not only like to, you know, pay our respects for somebody we've lost today, but also all those along the way that we've lost. You know, it just makes me, you know, get a bit emotional. But, you know, we also want to pay our respects to those, because I know for myself as a young one, you know, they played a big role in you know, what this place is today. So I just, if everyone could just pause for a moment, that'd be great. Thank you. Thank you for that. Now I'd like to welcome one of our senior traditional owners of the Murumburr clan, one of my mothers, Mum Wyatt. Lawson, if you'd like to come up and say a few words.
Maybe I I'd just like to thank everybody for coming or join my people, our people. And Parks and NLC helped us going through these things. We've been waiting long time, Marban Marbom. Marbom, Ariargan Gubena Gunborg, Arbok Nanani, Korogo. And Bolmo, I got find me, and Bambam. But hardwood, you had better, very Jordan Marie. Grandchildren, kids, very Jordan Marie, but couldn't walk Arigarame. Point, my sister.
I think my sister was saying that it's been a long, hard road since the land rights first came in some years ago. And I think somebody sort of said to me this morning, I knew that it was 40 odd years, and he actually said it was 45 years. And then she said that you were all welcome, but that our children were only all small when we were young women. But now we're grandmothers and we're great-grandmothers now. And finally this whole thing arrived, finally. And, you know, so it is, we are so happy for our land to come back, and plus everybody else who's been waiting this long. Thank you.
Yeah, Ken Wyatt's journey is longer than the dream time. Yeah, finally, I'd love to welcome Ken Wyatt here, Indigenous Affairs Minister. Welcome.
Hiya. It's a Nyungar word for saying hello. My heritage is Nyungar in the southwest of WA, with connections on my mother's side to the Wongai people in the Goldfields region of WA, and a Yamaji through my father, which is the Yurlkmanj region. And when I first became minister, one of the things I always wanted to make sure is that we acknowledge the traditional owners first and foremost. Because the traditional owners have been with us for 60,000, 65,000 years. They've instilled in us the culture, the knowledge and the understanding of country. And country is the essence of who we are. Doesn't matter whether Nyungar land or land here. Our attachment is based on our birthplace, but also our families and our communities and our regions. And I acknowledge the traditional owners on the land on which we are meeting here today, the Murumburr people, and pay my respects to elders past, many of whom would have been involved in the negotiations, those present and those emerging. I extend that respect to all traditional owners of the Kakadu region and all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here today, and all of those who are with us as well that are walking on this journey. I want to thank Jody for your work and your Minister, Susan Lee, who has been tremendous in working with me and working with Selena to make today happen. When I became Minister, I didn't get an invitation from Sammy.
You liar.
No, it wasn't that. What he did was a media release in the paper. And the media release said the land councils look forward to meeting with Minister Wyatt. And I thought that's an unusual way of getting an invitation. And then I rang him. And then we had a meeting. And when I sat with the land councils, I said to them, we can fight for land and we will get it back. We have to think about what that means for our grandchildren. Not just us, but for our grandchildren in the future. And I asked Sammy and all of the other land councils what were the outstanding issues. And they outlined land claims that had not been progressed. Some that were more than 38 years old. And I was fascinated as to why they had languished and sat there. Because there was no need. And so I want to thank everyone who's been involved in this journey. It's not just ministers. It is the Northern Land Council. It is the public servants who do the work that we need doing. And those who make today happen. And sometimes when you look around, you see everything set up. We've got to think about the people who spent hours putting that into place to make today an enjoyable one. I also want to thank the traditional owners for welcoming me and everybody present today to Cooinda. I want to thank you for allowing me to walk on your country. Aboriginal peoples share a special connection with all of our lands. We have lived on and looked after and continuously travelled through this land for over 65,000 years. And evidence is now suggesting 75,000. The region contains some of Australia's oldest sites of human occupation, stories, ceremonies, dance and art. Throughout this time, enduring knowledge, land use and cultural practices of traditional owners have been passed down the generations. And it's this enduring care that keeps the land and waters alive today. 30 years ago, the Mabo decision of the High Court of Australia affirmed this special connection and acknowledged that Indigenous Australians' connection to country should be preserved and enhanced. Today, the land that will be handed to the traditional owners is the land of the following: the Garndidjbal, the Yurlkmanj, the Wurngomgu. I am sorry if I incorrectly say them. Bolmo, Wurrkbarbar, Matjba, Uwinymil, Mirrar Gundjeihmi, Djindibi, Dadjbaku, Mirrar Gundjeihmi and Dadjbaku. It's a great pleasure to be here to celebrate Aboriginal culture and land and your deep past and enduring presence in this country. This country is closely entwined with the beginning of the Commonwealth Aboriginal Lands Rights Act, which came into law in 1976. The Aboriginal Land Rights Act gives Aboriginal people strong ownership of their country. The grant of Aboriginal land provides for traditional owners as a group to be part of decisions involving the land and gain benefits from the land both now and for the future generations. In 1979, I went to pick up my wife, who worked in the State Reference Library. And she said, have a look at these books. She said, they are incredible. And I picked up the book, and the front page said Kakadu. And the other 4 that were with that book were all about Kakadu becoming a national park of significance to Australia. And when I thumbed through those books for a quick look, I was amazed at the pristine nature of this country, its pureness, but its richness of rivers, wildlife and vegetation, and of course our people. I never realised that in 30 plus years I'd be standing here giving back to you what was taken. And when I thought about that, I thought, wow, what an incredible privilege for those of us in leadership roles to be doing that. Today we celebrate country being handed over to traditional owners as I deliver the deed of grant to a large area of land in the Kakadu region, to the Kakadu Aboriginal Lands Trust. The handover of land will finalise 4 land claims that were lodged by the Northern Land Council on behalf of the claimants. 3 of the claims were lodged over 30 years ago. 30 years is a long, long time, too long, to wait for the recognition and ownership of Aboriginal land. As a Noongar Yamaji Wongai man and as your minister, I'm humbled by the resolve of traditional owners, by their patient determination. I also want to recognise everyone involved, the traditional owners, the Northern Land Council, the Parks Australia and the Northern Territory Government, for their pragmatic approach to finalising these long-standing and iconic land claims. The delivery of deeds of grants will unify the title and joint management of Kakadu National Park to the greatest extent since the park's establishment in 1979 and the subsequent expansions through to 1991. With the agreement of the traditional owners and the Director of National Parks, the land will be immediately leased back to the Director and will continue to form part of the Kakadu National Park. Under the lease, the land will continue to be jointly managed by traditional owners and the Australian Government through the Kakadu Board of Management and the Director of National Parks. Today marks an important step moving forward towards a strong partnership between traditional owners and Parks Australia and the strong and effective joint management of Kakadu National Park. Today also marks an important step for traditional owners to engage fully in opportunities that ownership of this very special area of land presents to them. As I've said, my commitment to these land handbacks is based on a simple belief that land security is spiritual, cultural, and economic security. Our government is investing $276 million in Kakadu National Park as a world-class tourism destination. This investment will help support the interests in your iconic World Heritage listed national park. It'll provide greater opportunities for Aboriginal businesses, Aboriginal jobs and the Aboriginal economy. The reopening of Kakadu National Park as Aboriginal land following COVID-19 is an exciting time to harness the Australian Government's $276 million investment. It's a great time to support the knowledge, skills and aspirations of traditional owners. And I'd like to thank the Northern Land Council and in particular the Chair, Sammy, for holding this very important event. Finally, thank you for everyone being here. I know it's been a long wait, but today is a worthy celebration.
I'd like to now introduce Malarndirri McCarthy, who is also a family member on my mother's side. Sorry, I had to think for a second. So welcome my Gugurdi. Yeah, my Gugurdi granddaughter.
Thank you, Margaret. Yo, Baijina Yamalendang, Ana Yanua, Liantawiriara. Pay my respects to the traditional owners of this country, but also every single one of you who've come up here today, representing your family and clan groups, and all of those who are unable to be here. I pay my respects, and on behalf of my families in the Gulf country, but also really on behalf of the people of the Northern Territory as Senator for the Northern Territory. It is both an incredibly joyous occasion and I know it's one tinged with deep sadness as well. But there's also something really beautiful about that. Just watching the speakers who got up and seeing so many young people here just fills my heart with great hope for this place, for the Northern Territory and for Australia. Yes, it's taken a long, long time to get here. And we're weary, we're exhausted, we feel nagging now, weak, tired. And that's okay. That's okay to feel that, because these land claims take way too long. Just mine with the Yanyuwa people took us 40 years. 41, there look, Chairman. Way too long. And we lost so many elders in that process, and I was a little girl watching that land claim. And hearing the stories this morning, this afternoon, about the land and country and what it means has been important. And I do commend Minister Ken Wyatt on your work here in the Northern Territory in ensuring that our land claims, these unfinished business, is now finished business, especially here. I just want to take you away from this place for a moment. Across the country, in the Parliament, in the House of Representatives and in the Senate, when people speak of Kakadu, they speak with great pride. When they talk about this area of country, there is immense pride. People who've never been here, people who might have just come here for a week or a day or an hour, they speak about this place. And I want to take you there because I know you're tired, but I want to energise you, because today, tonight when you go to sleep and tomorrow when you wake with the sunrise is your new beginning. For you and your families, for us in the Northern Territory, and for all Australians, because we look to Kakadu and we look to the people who live here, you, the custodians, but also the visitors, the people who you work with in government agencies, parks. You have a responsibility not only to each other, but to our country as a whole as Australians. You have a responsibility to find a better way forward, to respect one another in the way you deal with each other, and to never forget that this was, is, and always will be Aboriginal land. Yo, Bolmo.
I send my congratulations and apologies from Chief Minister Michael Gunner and my colleague, the local member for Arafura, Lawrence Costa. They drew the short straws and are in Parliament today. I got special leave to be here to celebrate with you all. Just 3 weeks ago, I was fortunate to be able to spend a family weekend here, not work, which is such a special time to be able to spend here in the country. And the first person I spotted was Mandy, which was great. And she said, "I heard you were coming." I said, "Geez, there's no secrets in Kakadu, are there?" And Mandy was our tour guide on the boat that afternoon with our family, which was fantastic. And I think, Mandy, you shared that it's been about 30 years since you were a ranger and you started, which was amazing. I had my dad on the tour as well, and it'd been 30 years since he had done the boat tour, so I thought that was a pretty special moment and a crossover for our two families. These 4 land claims include the Murumburr land claim number 93, the Kakadu Djindibi land claim number 122, the Alligator Rivers Area 3, Djindibi and Gundjeihmi land claim number 111, the Kakadu region land claim number 179. These land claims have been subject to negotiations dating back to 1984, the year before I was born. I acknowledge the advocacy and the work of the Northern Land Council and the traditional owners, the Director of National Parks, the staff and officials for the Northern Territory Government, who've all worked in partnership to negotiate and resolve these very important land claims. Since 2019, the amendment to the Aboriginal Land Rights Northern Territory Act of 1976, allowing these land claims to be granted as Aboriginal land, as it rightfully should be. It is pleasing to see more Aboriginal land claims being finalised, and it is an honour to witness historic days like today in the land being handed back rightfully in the hands of traditional owners, and particularly today, the Kakadu Aboriginal Land Trust. The granting of Aboriginal land recognises and acknowledges that traditional owners are the decision makers, that they have the rights that they have always had for thousands of generations, to use, to nourish and to share their land and country as they see fit, in traditional ways and modern and contemporary ways. The opportunities for future leaders, future custodians of this country to enjoy and to have that same decision-making power protected. Thank you, Minister Ken Wyatt. Although we sit on different sides of politics, you've always shown an absolute respect and a genuine sense of responsibility for that partnership work here in the Northern Territory. We very much thank you for that work, Minister. Thank you to my sister, Senator Malarndirri McCarthy, who has been one of my mentors, and particularly that strong voice when we're talking about Aboriginal affairs at the national level. And to the NLC Chairman, Mr. Sammy Bush-Banasi, my bunga, thank you. I know we don't always agree, and sometimes he rings me and he growls me, but the work that we do is for the betterment of our families and Aboriginal Territorians, and I thank you for continuing to be that strong advocate for our people. The Kakadu Aboriginal Land Trust and finalising the ongoing leasing arrangements with the Director for National Parks will enable the continuation of management, old pastoral stations, which are now owned by the Commonwealth as part of the Kakadu National Park area. The focus of continued economic development. We've seen some great businesses and even a new one that's just started here in the park. The Aboriginal economy is a vital part of the Northern Territory. Our Aboriginal businesses and our Aboriginal businessmen and women are critical to the future economic prosperity of the Northern Territory. Our Northern Territory Labor government continues to support the management and sustainable management of Kakadu National Park. It is World Heritage listed and one of the absolute wonders of the world. And through the investment and the commitment to Kakadu and Djabbaroo and the people of Kakadu and Djabbaroo, we've been very proud since 2019 of our Northern Territory Labor government commitment of $135.5 million over 4 years for a transition for Djabbaroo Township from its mining history to a sustainable tourism hub, a service centre for the park and across the river. We know it is a very important part of the Territory and particularly for the people of West Arnhem. The work that we are committed to do as a Territory government in collaborating and working in partnership with the Commonwealth Government, Energy Resources Australia Limited and Gundjeihmi Aboriginal Corporation is all about securing the future of Djabbaroo and the master plan of Kakadu to preserve this very special place in the world, and more importantly, to empower the Aboriginal people, the Aboriginal Territorians who keep it safe in their custodianship. Our Territory Labor government is working with some particular reform in law, which is very important to us, and that is strengthening the Northern Territory Sacred Sites Act. This is work that's being led by my colleague, the Honourable Chancey Paik, the member for Goycha, in his role as the Minister for Arts, Heritage and Culture, who is responsible for the Aboriginal Areas Protection Authority, our independent body who looks at and delivers on the goals of the Sacred Site Act. This reform will mean that we close a loophole in legislation, a loophole in Western law, which allowed the unfortunate happenings of Gunlam Falls. We will close that loophole later this year through the Northern Territory Parliament and the legislation that Chancey will be bringing to the House. Our Northern Territory Labor Government thanks and acknowledges the work of the Commonwealth, particularly Minister Ken Wyatt, and the commitments to upgrade ongoing, sustainable, accessible and enjoyable Kakadu National Park, and the rollout of these upgrades and the investment, which means that traditional owners, their families, as well as the visitors who we are so lucky to be shared this country with, are able to ensure that there is a strong future for tourism, sustainable tourism here in the park. As I said, today is a historic day, and I say a warm congratulations to all of the families and clans who are here, who have fought past and present for the future safeguarding of the park. Thank you for your decades of work. Thank you for your decades of fighting. Thank you for your decades of still believing in governments and working in partnership, all levels of government. Your strength and indeed your leadership has ensured that the future generations of your families will be able to control and make those important decisions about country. The beautiful land that you've called home for over 65,000 years, and thank you for sharing it. And here's to the next 65,000 years of protecting your special part of the world. Thank you for sharing your country, and congratulations on the handover today.
This makes me very, happy and proud, and of course sad at the same time. But yeah, next one I'd like to ask for a member of the Limilngan clan, if you want to come up and say a few words, either Mr. Henry or Mr. Kenyon, do the honours, or Mr. Cooper. Yeah, it's all your show too, so yeah.
Hello everyone, my name is Victor. I come from the western part of Kakadu, in my mother's country. I'd like to acknowledge that the Murumburr people of this land, from past to present, and the old people that is not with us today. For us, it was a very long time, like old lady Jessie and Violet says, but it finally came. I'd like to say thank you to the Northern Land Council and Park Australia. I hope we can work together to make these things move forward.
Now, one of the next speakers from the clan Garndidjbal, Atburung, Mr. Miller. I think that's you or anyone else.
Hello, everybody. Probably some people know me. Some people do. Well, I've been here for a couple of years back, looking for my father. I'm one of the beginners, but I was grow up in the river. And now I'm here with my son here, Jonathan. Got two daughters after all too. But I was here everywhere, like Kutanga, Debru. I was working Debru. Kakadu service, I was working there. One of Yapala. I used to work at take tablet, talk with them, old people. But really, I don't really want to try to find my papa, my father, try to find him. But I couldn't find him. Couldn't find him, nothing. But now, I'm here. I went to Gunbalanya. The sister took me to Wurrkbarbar. And we slept in that creek. And I was thinking, that is Gundjeihmi. And I think it was too far from the highway. And I camped there for a night. My sister, I just buried him last couple of years back, one of the air stations, right? My brother, Henry McGinnis. And then we got up next morning, had breakfast. And my sister said to me, "You seen that big light?" And I said, "Sister, what light?" The big light was here, big bright one. And I said, "And where that light went?" Went down to Gundjeihmi. And you know what? And I said, "Probably my dad looking for me. He knew my son coming back." So I went into the big house. I walked in there. I could smell the pipe. I feel it. My daddy was there to me. And it was really, that's why I was trying to look around for my daddy. But now I'm here, my son, a lot of grandchildren, and I miss all.
I would just like to say thank you on the behalf of the Gundjeihmi Clan Group, the Minister, and Parks, and everybody else. Thank you.
Now, oh, gee, sorry, sorry, I hope everyone's awake now. Look, I just thought I'd get all the Jowin mob, Jowin Bolmo, Jowin Wurrkbarbar. Sorry if I can't pronounce. Yurlkmanj. Yeah, if you want to come and stand tall, proud here for today. Yeah, so feel free to come and stand as a group. That's what it's about. We've got the next generation of, young ones coming up, and it is not only about, the TOs, it's our next generation, all the Yungai, Nawat,
Hi all. We all represent the Jawan clan, so we're the southern entrance of Kakadu National Park. My name is Bernadette, so I represent Matjba along with my uncle and the rest of my family here. I just want to do a quick speech on behalf of all our elders that aren't here at the moment. So mainly the 3 senior custodians who fought for us and who fought for Goodlum. So my grandfather Peter Jutbala, Sandy Barraway, Nipper Brown. I'd also like to make a contribution to my great-grandmother Violet Smith and Mick Markham, who was a huge support and advocacy on behalf of all of us Jawan people. Also my grandfather Robert Lee, who's no longer with us. He was very instrumental in us getting back Coronation Hill and Goodlum, and he was also a big part of the Goodlum Land Trust, what we have today. I'd also like to say thank you to NRC and Parks Australia. It hasn't been the best working relationship, but we can work together for the future and see how we go from there. Also thank you to the Minister Ken Wyatt for being here and for handing us back the deeds to our country. All right, thank you, everyone.
Hi, my name is Joshua. I'm Wurrkbarbar clan from the southern end. I just like to say a few words in Jawan. Ngirang Jawan ngiriam bolt nangana, buyum bolt nangana. That saying comes from my grandfather Peter Jutbala, which means we Jawan look after this place, and we would like you to look after this place too. Thank you.
Hello. I'm Helma. I was taken away when I was 5 years old, sent to the mission, same as Jesse. And I grew up with Jesse. I've known Jesse. But I was taken away from my family and never see them. Never see them. And don't know the culture, don't know that much of the Jawan traditional, but I miss my mum. She died when I was over there. I came back looking for her. Didn't find her. She was 6 foot under. Poor darling. That's all.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I got my brothers here. We represent Yurlkmanj clan, Jawan, and just like to thank for the land back.
Hello here. I'm representing my clan, the Matjba tribe, my daughter as well, my other daughter and son. But thankfully for NLC, who's done a good job, and everyone else that's in the park all get together and do their thing so that we're all happy. And good luck for everybody. And I hope for a prosperous New Year and a Happy New Year for every year.
Okay, so anyone wanna come and talk for Djindibi? Djindibi, I don't know how we pronounce and how whatever. Old man, Sammy, Igor, where are you hiding what?
I'd like to say thank you very much, the Murumburr clan, Gagali, and the family accepting us to be here also to talk about what we're going to go to with the minister as he's here. And Mahuda, you want to say something? Mahuda. Ma. Hello, everybody. Too loud. I'm Mr. Gumbrolo, Adrian, Gumblajablo. I'm Gundjeihmi too. It's my granny country and my uncle. And now I'm working Gumblanja. I'm not working now, I'm retired now. I stay with my country. I lost all the family too, even my little brother, everything. I was working there for cattle, live catching, everything, with my father. And thank you for NSC. And that's the first time I came down here for this country, you know. This is my mother country and old Jesse. Yeah, and my time is finished now. I just stay with my country. Wumlanya, Wumlan, that Eligira. You don't know what I'm speaking. All right, thank you, NC. I had to get him up here because he also, like I said before, he represents the Murumburr clan, the family, auntie, well, yeah, my cousin, yeah, my Gagali. And actually for being here, and like earlier Victor said and a few others mentioned about how we will go and work with the park and to share the knowledge and experience with the federal government. And I'd like to say thank you, Mr. Ken Wyatt, and to turning up as the Aboriginal Affairs Minister. Yeah, and Chairman and the rest of the members and clan from all over. Thank you all. Anybody want to say something?
Yeah, now, I would like to thank the TOs around this country for having this meeting here, and I'm a grandson of my grandbrother of Djindibi, as my uncle said, Sammy. That my dad is one of the elders from my grandmother, and we're part of this country as well, from our grandmother's side, but I'm originally from Coburg Peninsula.
Thank you.
You're sorry, one more, I think. Uwinymil?
So yeah, thank you all, and wow, finally we got recognised. You want to say something?
Yeah, I'm David Jace. As everyone should know me from here, I used to work in this area before. Same as McCarthy said, we welcome this special day. And lastly, I'd like to say I've joined the police force, and I'll be starting up in the next 2, probably 3 weeks from now. All right, that's all I've got to say.
I'd like to say something. My name's Timothy Ender. Been working in Kakadu for probably 13, 14 years now. And I just feel really good to be recognised. Like my auntie said, and my uncle, I'm from my grandmother's side, Magdalene, Tamblin. So I'd like to say thanks, everyone.
Bunidj, Tasha, Desi. I'd like to welcome you up.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Natasha Naji from Bunidj clan, and we have relations to all the clans that have come up here today. We're very proud to see this handback going on and the ceremony. It's been a long time coming, and like many of you, I'm almost in tears because it's just such a great feeling to see this happening in our community, and I am looking forward to seeing all of this great work happening on our countries in the future. Thank you, NLC, and thank you, Mr. Ken Wyatt, for helping us achieve our goals this year. And have a great afternoon, everybody.
I'll see if you can just wiggle back a bit, mate. Good one.